So we can start. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome everybody to this webinar, which is about the Infinti artificial intelligence engine for medical research. We are very happy today to launch the new edition of the engine with the new updates that you will see. And it is a breakthrough in the field of research and ophthalmology. And in the very near future, it will be for all branches of the medicine. Today, of course, we have me and Ala Sinjab, my son. Ala Sinjab is the chief data scientist at Xcute company in the US. He has a strong background in developing cutting-edge solutions for the medical field. Ala leads the development of the Infinti engine and has collaborated with the top institutions like the National Institute of Health in the US and Vanguard Company, previously, of course, and worked with various companies to solve complex research challenges. Ala is a data scientist and artificial intelligence scientist, and myself is Dr. Mazen Sinjab, a consultant ophthalmologist working in the UAE. So today we are going to show you the engine from two perspectives, the medical one, how to apply it and the benefits of it, and the technology behind it, a very advanced technology behind it. So today we are going through the following points. Let me share the screen with you to show you the following points that we are going to cover today. All right. So we will go through the Infinti definition and the science behind it. Of course, Ala will talk about it. Then the ranking system that we built together with, of course, consultants who are statisticians in the field of ophthalmology. And then we will show you how to utilize the engine properly and to avoid the improper ways of asking the questions. Then we will show you live how to use the engine, and you can participate in this. You can tell us some questions you would love to see the answers. So you will see live how the Infinti will answer your questions in a very categorized and classified, cited, supported with reference method. Then we will show you some polls. We would love to know or to probe your feedback by using these polls, and then we will finalize by questions and answers and your suggestions. Of course, we will use the following strategy during this session, which is during the presentation. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to place them in the chat box so that I can collect these questions and ask Ala, or maybe I can answer them during the presentation. We are not going to leave questions to the end. Of course, at the end, you can ask questions as well, but we can answer the questions as we go. The other point is anyone who would love to be with us as panelists and discuss by sharing the video and voice is most welcome. You can please raise your hand up and I'm going to add you as a panelist. That will be a very interactive and will add a lot to the session. So let us start now. Mr. Ala, if you don't mind to share your screen and start the presentation.
Yes, sure. Well, thank you so much for the introduction. I'm really happy to be here and to talk about Infinti. Has been great working on this. We have been developing it for over 4 months right now. It's very exciting. It's a new branch of AI that everyone is talking about these days, and it's pretty exciting. Everyone is really passionate about what AI can bring us. As you know, AI is a very vague term these days. Everyone use AI for anything that is smart. You know, since ChatGPT came out, everyone is talking about, you know, AI, how we can use ChatGPT. ChatGPT is the best, and so on. Now, this is exactly what we are doing right now. We are doing kind of an advanced ChatGPT, if you can think about it this way. It's ChatGPT overall and many others these days. So you have one from Meta or Facebook, you have another from Google or Microsoft. Everyone has their own chat. The general technology is called LLM, which is large language models. But we are building right now is a step further. From that, you can think about it as LLMs overall are the foundational block, and then the rack system is around 2 or 3 blocks above it. So it's a very advanced technology. It's a cutting edge. And how this really works, very briefly, is that ChatGPT overall, or any LLM, has been trained on a huge amount of data. We can think about billions of data points. Now, this is awesome. So you do need something like this that to understand language, how to use grammar, how to write, the meanings, even has knowledge about things, right? I think we all have used ChatGPT before. Now, what these LLMs actually lack is honesty, right? So they can make up information. They can, if you ask it anything about anything, it always has to answer you. It always has to give you an answer. It could be wrong, could be right, doesn't matter. It has to give you an answer. Sometimes, or almost every time you ask a question related to science, right, it would give you fake citations. So it would tell you, well, this is the answer to your question, and here's the citation, and it even gives you a link. You would think it's correct, but it leads you nowhere. It's just a link to PubMed, but when you go to it, it doesn't work. And this is where rack system comes in. With
So
rack system, go ahead.
So, Ala, yeah, you are surprising us. So, do you mean that they are creating something which is not real, and even further, they are giving like fake references? So, when you follow up these references, you will find that there are nothing, or there is nothing related to those, or maybe it will show you that this page is not available, something like this.
Exactly. So you would ask it a question, and would it tell you, perfect, well, here's the answer to your question. You'll tell, okay, give me the references, and it would give you references, and it will give you the title of the paper, the authors, which year, link to it, right? If you just look at it, you would say, wow, this is awesome. Actually, I have something that supports whatever I'm writing about or whatever I'm doing. Just go click on that link or try to Google it. 99% of the time, you're not going to find it. It's just a made up study. ChatGPT has to answer you, right? It has to give you an answer. It's
Okay,
right
great.
or wrong, it has to give you an answer. Yes.
So what's different in Infinti? Infinti
yes,
is evidence-based. It depends on database, correct? No,
exactly.
sorry.
Yes. So
Yeah.
exactly. So with Infinity, we are using something called RAG. RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. So the difference is that you are using this LLM as a foundation, right? So we do need its knowledge of language and patterns and everything else, but we don't want it to make up anything up. So we give it whatever documents we have, whatever references we have, and we tell it, okay, well, here's the data sources you have. You cannot use anything else. You can only use these. Doesn't matter where they are. Doesn't matter if they are wrong or correct. You can only use these. This is what makes it powerful. So every time it gives you a reference, it is correct 100% because we have given it that data. And also this is what makes it customizable, right? So here in Infinity, we have used 850,000 research papers in ophthalmology. To be exact, we only used the abstract from all these studies. Of course, we used open source, closed source, doesn't matter. We have gotten all the abstracts.
So wait, let me stop at this point. So
Sure.
the database that is fed to the Infinity is 850,000 papers published since 2000, the year 2000, correct? All
That's
right.
correct.
Now, they are only abstracts, correct? Now, the journals, they are all journals in ophthalmology, all journals in ophthalmology. So it is not only few journals or limited number of journals, all available journals in the world about ophthalmology, correct?
That's correct. I think we have over 260 journals.
260 journals. For example, in refractive surgery, the Journal of Refractive Surgery is included. The Journal of Cataract and Refractive Surgery is included. The cornea, the ophthalmology, the eye, all of these journals are included.
Yes, and I can also share with you a graph we made, and it just shows you the amount of studies.
Cannot see, we cannot see. We just see our pictures. So are you sharing something?
I'm gonna share right now. See my screen now?
Yes, very good.
Okay.
So these are the journals.
Yes, these are not all the journals. This is just 25 of them, right? So the top 25. So starting from here, you have the most amount, which is 17,000. And this is in all ophthalmology. So it could, overlap with some other journals, but overall, it's all ophthalmology. So I think you did mention the eye, and I think it's here. How many do we have for the eye? 5,000, around 5,200.
So the numbers beside each one of them is the number of articles, correct?
A number of abstracts, yes.
Abstracts. So let's say in the Journal of Cataract and Refractive Surgery that I can see it on the right side, we have how many journals? 7,267.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, all are included in the database of the Infinity.
Yes.
So whenever I ask a question, the Infinity will go through or will dive through all abstracts, the 850,000 abstracts, in order to give me the answer.
It's going to go over each single one every time you ask a question. So whatever question you ask, it's going to go over 850,000 studies, of course, within a second or two, and going to answer you based on them.
All right, great. So
and there are some other cool statistics I find here. So here we have actually tried to classify these studies, right? So based on this hierarchy of evidence. And you can see here, so how we did this actually, we have built another custom model that does this. It's a bit different in technology. I don't want to go into it very far, but basically we have classified these studies into one of these categories, and these are the count for each one of them.
So they are classified based on the pyramid that we know in medicine that comes on the top, the meta-analysis and systematic reviews, sorry. And at the bottom is the expert opinion. So it is classified. Now, of course, you will show us the ranking system for the priority or how the Infinity will select the top articles. Great. So this is the database of the Infinity. For example, we have in the Infinity database 46,000 plus articles which are meta-analysis and systematic reviews, correct?
That's correct, yep.
And we have almost 100,000 which are randomized controlled trials.
Yes.
And so on. All right. Okay, so what else about the Infinity you can show us?
I can show you the number of studies per year. Of course, you can see how overall number of studies goes up over the years. So this is since the year 2000 up until here. I mean, 2024, we're still in Q2 right now. So not too many so far. I'm expecting this to jump up to at least 42,000 by the end of the year.
Okay, great. So this is the distribution of the studies in the database distribution over the years. Okay, great.
Yep. If there are no more questions, I can dive into the ranking system.
Yeah, there is an important question from one of the colleagues. Why it is not through full text? Why it is only abstracts?
That's a great question. So actually we have had this in mind, right? So to build this, abstract gives you most of the information you would need as a knowledge, but it wouldn't really go into details of how they did the study, the numbers, everything that all these numbers that are very, very important. The problem with that is that not all studies are open source, right? So you have, I would say 60% are open source, maybe 50%. The other 50% are not. They are closed source. So you would need to go to each journal and try to get these studies from them and the full PDF. As of now, this is what we are working on. This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to collaborate with as many journals as we can. But we wouldn't really implement this or add it as a feature unless we have all of them. Because if we start with the open source only, you immediately have bias, immediately. Because you have 50% have full text, which have much more knowledge than the other 50% which are not open source. And I think the closed source ones are usually the good ones, right? So you have Journal of Cataracts. I think that one is very important and it's closed source. Correct me if I'm wrong there. So
Yeah,
that's the reason we don't have
many
it.
of the most prestigious and let's say more most let's say which has high ranking, they are closed. Yes. So
Yes,
yeah, of course, if we depend on part of them full text, part of them on abstract, then there will be bias in the results that the
yes,
Infinity will give us. So maybe in the future, let's say a company says, okay, I want to use the Infinity. They can, for example, have an access by their own, do subscription to some of the journals that they need. And then this Infinity will allow them to go through the full text. It can be customized for the company, for example,
of
based
course.
on the subscriptions that they do, for
Yes.
example. Or
It,
a university. A university would like to apply the Infinity, for example, and this university has an access to full ophthalmology journals in the world, for example. They have full
yes.
access. So in this case, the Infinity can go easily to the full text and bring the information from the full text.
Yes, definitely. So it's very customizable. Whatever text you give it, it's gonna learn from it. And if a company or institute has access to more studies or the full paper, definitely we can just feed it that, and it's actually gonna be good to go.
I
There's
know that
something actually. Go ahead.
I know that the audience are getting more and more excited to see the Infinity, how we are going to use it. So this is just an appetizer. So we want you now to tell us about the ranking system. You said, okay, the Infinity will select um, the top uh,
Yeah.
database or articles. So based on what?
Can I just go circle back on one thing?
Yes.
I want to show something very exciting we have been working on, and then I'm gonna go to the ranking system. So one thing actually that is the first step in building the full text, reading the full text from a paper. It's for a machine to be able to understand PDF files, right? So as you know, papers overall they are designed in a certain way, right? So you have a column and then another column. So they are not really written in a normal, document where you can just get the text out of it easily. So I'm gonna share my screen one more time, and I'm gonna show you what we have built.
Yes.
So that.
Yeah, we can see.
Okay, so here what we have built actually is an AI model as well that reads the PDF file, right, and extract the text out of it. So if you take a look at this, let me open it up here. So you have the title right here, and then you have some unimportant information. I mean, they are important, but not really as a knowledge, right? So we don't really care about this. we care here. So abstract starts here, introduction, and then we go to the methods. Now everything here we don't care about, or everything here. So if you would just go and extract this data as an automated way, right? If you have thousands, you would need to automate this process. It's impossible. So your text would look like, okay, abstract, start at KC dot, and then you would go to digital features. You would have all of this information here that is unrelated and gonna make the model confused. So what we have did here is that we have built a model that is able to understand BDFs that are related to research papers and extract this information from them. Let me show you what the results are. So here's the original paper, and here are the results. So it would give you, first of all, the title here, give you this information here about the authors, and then the abstract. And you can see here, so it jumped from KC all the way to methods, so it did not include anything else. And we have,
So it
go ahead.
reads the text as a human. It knows exactly which column and which next page and so on.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. This is what it does, and also can extract mathematical symbols, for example. These are very important to extract as is. And also it can extract tables. These are the most important in my opinion. So it can go to the table, make it in a formatted way that a computer can read it, so the LLM can read it. And this is how we really would go farther with this, with reading the full text, which is having something
Okay.
that can understand the PDFs.
So let me stop here. So without this, even if any engine, artificial intelligence engine, would like to go through the full text, without this, there will be wrong reading because it does not know how to read the PDF files, correct?
Exactly, yes.
So this programming of the AI that you did as well is correlated with the Infinity. So the Infinity can read PDFs after converting them into a readable text.
Exactly.
And then it extracts so this is another feature of the Infinity.
It's not yet. So we're not using it yet just because we are not ingesting the full text of each paper. But this is the first step for us to move forward with that.
Mm-hmm. So in the next edition, maybe.
Yes. Once we have more journals, subscription to more journals, or we want to open up the full PDF or full text answers in our rack system, then yes.
Yeah, but I mean, it is already available. So if any university
Oh,
would like
yes.
to apply the Infinity now, they
Yes.
can use it. All right.
Definitely.
And this is for the full text, but it is not necessary for the abstracts that we have now, correct? The
You got it.
Infinity
Yes.
now is built on the abstracts,
Yes.
but it doesn't need it for now. But if we want to go deeper with the full text, then it will need this feature.
Exactly. You got it.
All right.
Any questions here?
Yeah. Some questions like filters, classification. This is what we are going to come to.
We'll get to it. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
So let me go to the ranking system.
Yeah, the ranking system used, please.
Sure. Okay, let me share this screen instead. Yes, you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to talk a bit about the ranking system. So how this works is that, as I mentioned earlier, whenever someone asks a question, you're going to get the AI is going to go over each single study, right? And going to give it a score. So this score basically means how relevant this document or this study is to the question being asked. So let's say we asked a question about LASIK, right? It's going to go over each one of them, give each one of them a score, how relevant it is to this question being asked, and then rank them. And this way we can take, let's say, the top 10, 20, 30, it doesn't matter how many we want to get. And these are the 30 or 20 studies that we're going to use to answer the question. So this is step number one. Step number two is that we do some kind of systemic way for us to re-rank these studies, these top 30 or 40 studies, based on a custom ranking system, based on the how we think a study should be ranked, other than whether it's relevant or not. So we have already made sure that all these studies we have are relevant. Next step here is to rank them. Now, what we have here, we have actually developed 4 ways for our AI to re-rank the studies. So the first one is SGR. SGR basically uses H-index on each journal. So each journal will have its own rank, whether it's Q1, 2, 3, or 4. Q1 being the best, Q4 being the worst, and H-index depends, of course, on the number of citations, number of references, what else? The year it was published, I believe, a few other things. It's a very famous thing in research, but we have this as a metric, so we do care about which journal the study came out from, of course. The second thing here, the study type. So the study type is exactly what we have classified, right? Whether it's a meta-analysis, case study, cohort study, or whatever that the study methodology is. We do take care we take this into account as well. And then we have both citations and references. So the number of citations that that use this study, or the references used in that study. So all of these 4 account into the overall ranking of the results being outputted from our LLM or RAG system. So let's go over them one by one, how we really went down from each one of them. So the first one is SGR. As I mentioned, we have Q1, 2, and 3, 4. Some journals are unranked, and what you see here on the left is a point system. So we have created a point system where each one of these will get a point. So let's say we have a study that is the journal of it is Q1, it will get 100 points, and you go down the list. So 75, 50, 25, and 0.
So the SGR is a way, international way of ranking a journal, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so
It's called
each journal has this. They wrote the ranking on it. For example, this journal is Q1 or 2 or 3 like this.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
If you would like, I can share my screen really quick here and show you how it looks. But there are so many ads. Let me stop this. There you go. So this is SGR, right? And this is how they do it. So these are not related to ophthalmology, not all of them, because I did not filter them down. But overall, they all depend on the H-index and something called SGR. So they count, for example, how many documents that journal published in 2023 and within 3 years, references, citations. So they have so many metrics. And then finally, they give it a score, or SGR rank, sorry. So you have a Q1, 2, 3, 4. It's available. I think anyone can just Google it if they are interested.
All right. The second category?
Yes. So the second thing is study type. So study type here we have 5 categories only. I do understand that there are more, but as a start, we have started with the most important ones, which are these 5. And we have given them a similar kind of ranking. So 100, 80, 60, and 40, and 20 for the least important.
No, I want to clarify this to the audience because I don't want them to think that there is a bias, that it is just selected randomly. So this is what is available in PubMed. All right. This classification is available in PubMed, correct?
Yes. Yes. So let me tell you how we did it. So how we did this is actually we went to PubMed. We saw how PubMed is classifying their own the studies that is in it, and then we have taken these studies, and then we have trained our own models, our own AI model on this data for us to classify data that is not on PubMed, right? And this is how we came up with this. Our accuracy was, I believe, 96.6 or 96.3%, which is extremely high. This is how we did it.
And
We would
of
love to
course,
have more. Yes.
we presented this to statisticians, medical statisticians, and they approved it.
Yes.
Okay, the third category.
Citations. So if a study has more than 50 citations, we give it 100, between 25 and 50, 75, and so on. We go down the list. If it has no citations, we give it a 0.
Mhm.
References, exactly the same way. More than 50, 100, and we go down the list.
Okay, so how about the collective then? How do you collect all of that?
Yes, so this is the point system, right? So we have, for each one of these categories, we have given it a point. And then, as you know, they are not all equal, right? So you have, for example, the study type. It's much more important than the number of references, right? So we have given that 30%, or SGR, right? The rank of the journal itself, we given that 30%, and then 20% for both citations and references. So, we multiply 30%, which basically we multiply 0.3 with the points we get from SGR, and so on. We add them all together. Then the final is the final weighted score. And this is how studies will be rearranged.
And all approved by medical statisticians. Okay, perfect. Now we want you to tell us about how to utilize the engine and give us examples, live examples. You ask the Infinity in front of us and show us the results.
Of course. So let me first open up, let me stop sharing one more time. So actually we have pushed a new version of Infinity. Has a few new features, looks better. I'll go over it as well. Yes. So this is Infinity. I believe many of us have tried it already, but this is the new interface. Overall, I'm going to go over this really quick. So in Infinity, we have 2 chatting modes so far. We have a third one coming very soon. You can access them here. So we have the interactive chat, and then you have exploratory analysis mode. So the interactive chat, you can go back and forth with the AI engine. With this mode, you don't. You just ask it one question, and it gives you a very long answer that contains at least, not at least, it gives you 30 references. With the interactive chat, it gives you only 8 references. The only difference really is that this one you can go back and forth with it, and it gives you, 8 references. This one you cannot. You just ask it one question, gives you a very detailed answer with 30 references. Now, the third one, we can talk about it a little bit more later, but this one will be more advanced. It's going to have more than 10 pages or 12 pages in length of content.
Yeah, but let me clarify something or
Sure.
make it more simple to the audience, that the
Yes.
interactive chat is similar to any chat that you ask, then you continue asking about the same subject, the same topic, and it will keep on answering you based on the same topic. So it is similar to any conversation between 2 persons, all right? But each time it answers you, it will give you the references of the answer. Now, in the exploratory analysis, you can answer a question and it will give you full text categorized and cited, as you will see now. But if you ask about how about that one or how about this one, maybe it will be difficult. You have to reformulate the question and ask it as a new question. Is that right?
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Okay, so let's go.
Okay. The other thing here, you can always start a new chat. And here's the chat history. Once you log in, using the Infinity website from Sinjab Academy, you can get in here and have your own chat. The other very nice thing we have added here is, I did hear someone asked about filters, and we have them here. So here we can actually filter by these. So you can filter by the SGR rank itself. And here, let me just point something out. If you select, let's say, Q2, this will mean that it's going to include studies from Q1 and Q2, right? Q1 being the best, Q4 being the worst. So Q2 will select Q1 and 2. If you select Q3, it's going to select all the above, and so on. The other thing is the study type itself, and it's the same exact concept. So if you select, let's say, cohort studies, these three going to be included, right? Because these are more powerful than this. And the third one we can also filter by is the year the study was published in. So this is the year since, right? So when is the start year? So if we select, like, let's say 2022, it means it's going to go from 2022 up until 2024, including 2022. Sorry, including 2020.
Yeah.
And then we have the minimum number of citations. So we can select all the way up to 100, and the references as well.
So by this, I can customize the research that I am going. For example, I don't want very old information, especially if I'm talking about something very much developing nowadays, for example, refractive surgery. I don't want to know information that is more than 20 years ago. I want it, for example, in the last 5 years. So in this case, I just pull the bar until the 2019, for example. So it will give me the last 5 years. And if I want to have a lot of information, then I have to pull the citation and the references bars. And if I want to make it more powerful, then the study type, for example, use the first 2 or 3, starting from the cohort, which will include the systematic review and the randomized trials, and so on. So you can empower or change the power of your research based on the filters. Otherwise, if you set it as default, it will go through everything and will give you the top of it based on the ranking system.
Yes, so the ranking system will be used regardless. But
Yeah.
one thing I want to note here is the number of citations and the number of references. This is per study, right? So for example, if we select 100, right? This will mean that only studies that were cited more than 100 times will be included. So this might be a bad thing, for example, because it's going to limit your search. So when we go back to full on, you have 850,000. Once you do something like, okay, we need these two, right? The chart is somewhere there, the one I showed with how many studies we have. But here, once you select this, means you're only selecting these two, and now you have 50,000 or 60,000 studies only. So the more you do filters, the more you are limiting how much knowledge it knows. But this might be a good thing if you are careful about it, right? So if you know how to what exactly you need.
Yeah, sometimes because there are strong studies, but not yet cited to too many journals or too many other studies. So maybe raising the bar of the citations will eliminate and exclude good studies.
Yes,
Yeah.
and one thing here on SGR as well, Q1 does mean the best, but Q2 is not bad. So Q2 are actually good. So you might not want to exclude these. You know, so yes, there are some stuff we can do, but you know, just be careful about how you use these filters.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see
Yeah, of
how.
course.
So let us go for some examples in the interactive chat, then some examples in the exploratory one.
Sure. Do you have anything in mind?
Let's say, what is the correlation between LASIK and dry eye, for example? So we have this answer, and it is cited 8 references, of course, as you mentioned, because in the
Yes.
chat. Yeah, but where are the references?
So if you click on any of them, let's say we click on one, you see that
Ah,
on the right.
okay.
So here we have a few things. Let me open up another one. Here we go.
Mhm.
So here we have a cohort study. That's a Q1, citation 3, for example, number of references 38. And here's the title of the paper. And then here we are giving you 3 links if they are available, right? So not all of them have it. So you have PubMed, if you want to go to PubMed and see it. So this is a
Mhm.
study. You can go to, if you click on DOI, this means you going to the source of that study, and this seems to be Russian for some reason.
Mhm.
Or you can go to Semantic Scholar, which you can also see it.
Mhm.
And this
Inter-
will be true. Yes, and this will be true for everything. So all of them. So this one is not on PubMed, for example, so you don't see it here. Yes.
So this wasn't in the first edition of the Infinity. Now it is
Yes.
available.
So this was on the second edition, actually.
Yeah.
It has been up for around a few weeks, 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Yes.
Amazing.
And then here we can also, because it's a chat, so it does have knowledge about what you asked it before. So obviously, just like ChatGPT, you can give it a follow-up question.
Yeah, let me follow up like so what about like this? So what about um, the ablation depth? Because it is mentioned here, the ablation depth. Okay, so I want more information about the ablation depth.
The ablation depth. I don't see it, but I don't know how to spell it. Ablation depth.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So it gives more details about the ablation depth with more references as well. These are
Yes.
new references or the same references of the first chat?
They could be the same, but we are doing a totally new search, right?
Uh-huh.
So maybe one is used just because the paper was good, but overall they're gonna be new.
Okay.
Yep.
Maybe it did not understand the question as related to the dry eye because of dry eye syndrome. No, it did because it's showing higher rate of dry eye. Yes, exactly. Okay,
Yeah.
amazing. So let us
Yes.
see the exploratory chat now. Exploratory analysis. Let's ask a
Yes.
question, for example, um, the correlation between keratoconus stage and post ICR implantation results.
Let me just spell this word right. There you go.
This takes a little bit more time because, no, same time.
Just takes longer when it's writing because this one is a bit more advanced. So as we can see, we have this one uses 30 references, and even it mentioned it here.
Yeah, scroll down, please. Let us see. So as you see, it's categorizing the answer, showing predictive factors.
This one really focuses on comparing and contrasting between studies. This
And
is where
some
it's strong
discussion.
at, and some discussion, yes. So comparing and contrasting tries to find if, for example, one study says otherwise, and it highlights it for you. Tells you, well, all these studies are telling you yes, but these 2 or 3 are telling you no. So just so you know, right? This one, of course, gives you references, same way, but this is not in the text. This one gives it to you here at the end.
Hmm. That's amazing. It's a kind of magic, actually.
Yeah.
I want to hear the feedback from the audience. What do you think about this? In the chat. You can write in the chat. Scroll down, please, to see the scroll down, please. No, I mean, let me see the upper part. So scroll up.
Up, sorry. There you go.
It is my way actually in scrolling down and up in my Mac. So I can see the results, visual and refractive outcomes. Yeah, if you go down, stage 1 keratoconus, stage 1, you see? So it is something amazing. Of course, you can increase the number of references you depend on in this. So here it gives it in 30 references, correct?
Just
If
30,
I,
yes.
what if I want 101? Is it possible?
Of course, you can use as many as you want, but we have programmed it to only use 30, just so we can keep it constant. And as you know, this technology is expensive, so we need a way to measure it, you know?
So yeah, exactly. Ali Sheikha, write publication every day. Exactly. This is what I'm thinking of.
No.
All right. So here is a very important point Ala is saying, which is it's an expensive technology. That's why it is limited, because every time you ask a question to the Infinity, it costs us money. And it's, of course, no problem at all, because we are so happy to put this technology for the service of ophthalmology and then later in medicine. But what we want to say, if we want to expand it, it is expandable, it is customizable. So if any institute, for example, approaches us to give it for subscription or something, we can do that and we can expand the limits. So it will be customized based on, like if you are going to a tailor to make a suit for you. Okay, so great. Now, let's see another question.
Sure.
Or before we move to other questions, because now the audience have an idea about this. Let's see the proper and improper ways to ask the questions, because if you want exactly, if you know exactly how to ask the question, you will get the result that you desire. Otherwise, you may get wrong results and you may think that it is giving you wrong, it is weak or it doesn't know what's going on or something. So
Right.
please let us see the proper and improper way, examples of that.
Yes. Let me stop sharing one more time. Do this. Actually, let me share my full screen. Sorry.
We saw your screen, so what was the wrong?
No, I just wanted to share the full thing.
All right.
Yes. Okay, so proper and improper prompts. So here I'm gonna give you a few examples of how to use this and a few tips. So the first one is the first step, probably the most important, is to be specific, right? So we need to focus on one specific topic or a question we need to ask it, and these are two examples. So for example, this is a good one. What are the key findings of the efficiency of cross-linking therapy for keratoconus? So this one is good because it's specific. We are really specifying cross-linking and in keratoconus. So we're mentioning all parts. And the second thing is that we are saying, give me the key findings. So the AI knows what it wants to search for, which is basically this part here. Sorry, this is not the best way to do it, but this part here. And then the key findings are the expected outputs. Now
And the efficacy, of course, because you specify
yes.
for the efficacy. So be specific. This is the message here.
Yes. I'm not sure why I said efficiency, but yeah. The second thing, or sorry, the wrong one, the wrong way to do it is, what do studies say about cross-linking? So we are not really specifying anything. Also, this is a little bit not needed because we are already looking through all the studies. So a part like that is just more jargon that is not going to be used,
By the
and it's too
way,
broad.
I'm sorry for interrupting you frequently, Ala, but
Sure.
by the way, Ala is putting these examples based on the experience he got from the questions because the Infinity is available maybe 2 months now, has been
Yes.
available 2 months, and people are
Yes.
using it. We have many visitors are using it on daily basis. So he knows the questions. It appears in his system, the questions that people are asking, ophthalmologists, of course, are asking. So this is why he is now putting the guidelines or recommendations based on the mistakes that those ophthalmologists were doing.
Yes. Me and my team, of course, we are the ones looking at all the chats happening. It's a lot of exciting chats and good ones, but we did find a few ones that do need to be improved. Based on these, we have pulled up some of the examples here.
Okay. So what's next?
The next one is to include context, right? So you don't really you wouldn't just by default think, okay, well, it should know what I'm talking about. And instead, give it more details. Tell it exactly what you're looking for. For example, what are the effects of long-term steroid use in treating chronic uveitis in adults? So we have specified adults, right? This is our patient group. We have specified the condition and also the treatment, right? So we have steroids here. Incorrect way would be, just straight on, no context, no group, unless this is really what you're looking for, but there are many ways you can do it. It doesn't have to be in adults, but the way I'm trying to show you here is that specify as much information as you can. So it really knows what you think, or it really tells you what you want to know, right? Let me try this example here really quick, see how it would behave. So let me start a new chat. It's going to be a bit messy, like that. Here you go. Let's go just a normal interactive chat. Copy this thing as is, and enter it here. We don't need references for now. Can you read it,
Yeah.
Baba?
Yes. Okay. So long-term use of steroids to treat chronic uveitis in adults can lead to several systemic and ocular side effects, including ocular. Uveitis in adults. Let me see the question again. Yeah, what are the effects? Okay, yes, good. So elevation of the eye pressure, cataract formation leading to blindness and glaucoma, systemic hypertension, diabetes, osteoporosis, infections, adrenal suppression, and so on. Now let us see the other way around. If you just use this very short question, how it will give the answer.
No references. There you go.
So totally different, totally different. It did not understand what do you want about the steroids in uveitis. Do you want the efficacy? Do you want the side effects? Do you want how to use types? As you see, it provides us here with some brand names, the Ozurdex, for example. So, all right, it's very clear.
Yes. Let's go through this again. Okay. Now the third tip here is actually to use keywords. So keywords, mainly what I mean here is the terms, right, used in ophthalmology. So for example, VEGF, right? So it's part of give as much context as you can, without, of course, without overwhelming the whole thing, but be specific about what exactly you are looking for using keywords, right, or terminologies. So if you can use them like this, or even better, actually, if you can use the full-on text. I mean, this one is a bit longer, but if you can, instead of using terms only, use the actual full definition, and then put the term with it. This will even make you understand it even better, especially if you have
So instead of
Go ahead.
abbreviations, you mean instead of abbreviations, it's better to
Yes.
show the full name, and then maybe we can put in between brackets the abbreviation. So this will make
Yes.
it, yeah, okay.
Yes.
All
The
right.
last one here is to ask clear questions, right? So also more context, but also more clear. We can just say,
EDOF versus trifocal IOL. As a human, we understand that please compare between these two based on the, for example, dysphotopsia, based on the quality of vision, and so on. Here, the best way is to compare between both in terms of, okay? So in terms of, you are specific, dysphotopsia, for example. Okay, let's copy this question and ask it to the exploratory, please.
explore. Sure.
Yeah, let's
Is this
see.
the correct way to do it? Yes.
Maybe it would have been better if I, yeah. It already knows now the EDOF is the extended depth of focus. Okay. So it gives dysphotopsia induction, the trifocal. So as you see, categories, and then subcategories. Amazing. So as you see, this is the exploratory. How about the in-depth? The in-depth will give you maybe 15 pages because it is in-depth.
Yes.
Okay, that's perfect. Okay. So now let me show. Have you finished, Ala?
Yes. Good.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
So now I'm going to show some polls, and please, for the audience, to answer the polls, to participate in the polls. Here we go. So I'm going to put the first one, lunch. Can you see the polls? How can Infiniti be customized? Okay, how frequently do you use the artificial intelligence tools in your research currently? Perfect. No one so far has said never, which is good. On daily basis, we have almost, yeah, I think. Okay, first, the participation rate was about 50%. It's increasing. That's good. So it's now 1 minute. I'm going to end the poll and then show the results. So as you see, almost 30% on daily basis and almost 20% on weekly and more than 40% rarely. So if we say daily and weekly, we are more than 50%. So more than 50% are using the AI in their research, at least during the week. Okay, this is the first poll. Now, the other one. What problems are you facing that you think Infiniti can help with? Finding reliable studies related to a question I have, summarizing information from multiple studies based on a question I asked, writing a paper on a question I have, building presentation slides on a certain topic, addressing a specific patient case that I want an answer for, and others. Very good. Okay, that's good. We can extend it maybe 10 seconds more to get more feedback, because this is very important. It will help us developing and improving the Infinity. So we can end it up now and show the results. So we can say that finding reliable studies related to a question, summarizing information from multiple studies, writing a paper, not yet that much. Building presentation slides, this is very interesting. Addressing a specific patient case. When we say addressing a specific patient case, means that there are cases that we see in the clinic, and the doctor may need an opinion for that, or like an overview about, for example, the treatments, diagnostic tools, for example, like a review. And then they will maybe treat or diagnose properly. So it can be considered as a helpful tool as well during the daily practice in the clinic. Yeah. But the most important one is summarizing information from multiple studies and finding reliable studies related to a question. All right. Now we go to the last poll, which is, which interaction mode do you think is the most helpful for your use case? The chat mode, the first one. I needed to be able to ask follow-up questions. The exploratory mode, I need a comprehensive and concise and quick, concise and quick response to my question with 30 references. The in-depth, which is a detailed paper written for my question or topic with at least 150 references, including graphs and tables. By the way, maybe we forgot to say that the in-depth can create graphs and tables as well. I don't mind waiting 10 to 15 minutes to get an answer back, or others. So we can stop the poll and we can share the results. As we see here, the exploratory mode, because it's in between. It can give you references, it can give you what you want in most cases, and no need for too much references and too much papers. This is very logic, because the in-depth mode is needed by institutes, maybe by universities, by societies. For example, we are going to use the in-depth mode in the International Keratoconus Society to establish guidelines and best practice booklet, for example. So I think the participation was perfect. Thank you very much, everybody, for giving us this chance. And I think now we can have your questions. If you have any further questions, if you have suggestions, you are most welcome. Is there anything to add, Ala? Or that's all?
I think that would be all. I just wanted to talk a little bit more about the in-depth, just 10 seconds. So the in-depth actually will be a little bit different. Instead of having 2 to 3 pages answer, we're gonna have 10 to 12 and even sometimes 15 pages long. This will include graphs, so you can think about it as a meta-analysis, right? So we're looking at all of these studies, getting what each study say about something, getting these numbers out, and we are building graphs and tables out of these. It will be very comprehensive, but it requires a lot of power to do. So it will be an offline mode that is streaming. It's not live. It will take around 10 to 15 minutes to give an answer. So we're expecting this to come out hopefully within the next month, and we are looking to see how people will be using it.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you for the great news. Okay, Asia says, maybe exploring images in the future like OCT. She's talking about the AI in reading the OCTs, for example, reading the imaging. You remember we were working on the topography to make
Yes.
a model about the tomography. We are working on that actually, but because we don't have time, we are focusing on this engine now, but it is in mind about the tomography. And maybe in the future for other devices as well. Ali, can we upload pictures with historians and ask the diagnosis or differential diagnosis? For this, Infinti it is not designed for this. It is a research engine. But as we said, in the maybe next step, we will create another engine to read the photos. We will start for sure with the tomography, but later. By the way, I know that many centers are applying the artificial intelligence in reading the retina images and glaucoma images. So, of course, Dr. Ali Sheikha is our dear friend, and he is glaucoma specialist. So you can tell us about such softwares that read the OCTs of the retina and the optic nerve and the visual field. They are available, I think. Yeah, there is another user. The answer given by the Infinti was incomplete. I did not mention other modalities of it. Sorry, it did not mention other modalities of diagnosis of dry eye disease, such as tear film osmolarity and MMPs. Yes, because we asked that in the chat. But if you ask it in the exploratory mode, then it will give you everything. Yeah, in the chat, it depends only on 8 references. So that's why it just give you a brief answer, which is not complete, of course. So we can expand it. We can make the chat depend on, for example, 30 references. So it will give you more information. So you have to ask more and more. That's why it is chat. You ask, it will give you an answer. Then you ask about something related that it did not give. For example, how about MMP9? It will give you the answer, and so on. So it is chat. You are asking and being answered. In the exploratory, you can ask the same question and you will get different result, very detailed one.
Yes, and one thing I would like to note here is that we can add feedback on each response. The team really reads these all the time. So if you have any feedback, for example, as you saw, for example, did not mention few parts of the answer, expected answer, just give it a thumbs down and write down your feedback. For example, I expected this to do this, but it did not. This is how we would know, and this is how we would know that okay, we might need to increase our references or customize the model a bit. So this is very helpful for us as well. Just give it a thumbs down, write your
Share the screen and show us how to do this, please.
sure. This one.
So there is either copy, if we go down, either copy, yeah, you can copy the answer, or thumb up, thumb down. Click thumb down, for example. It will open a box, yes. And here you can add a comment that it did not mention MP9, so and so. So by this, that can be improved. Very good.
Yes, and for some reason you don't want to write a feedback or you just don't like the answer overall, you can just set submit and that's fine. This is not required. And sometimes the program every now and then tells you this message, give me a thumbs up or thumbs down, being obnoxious, but trying to help us get some feedback here.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So thank you very much, Ala, for this comprehensive overview about the Infinity and for the great work behind it, the hundreds of hours you spent to make it a reality. You converted the dream into reality. Thank you very much for that. And I would like to thank all the audience for being with us and have a great night. Goodbye, everybody. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.